Listen up, man, because I'm about to keep it a buck with y'all like a goddamn dollar store up in this bitch. You read the title, right? Maxing out your testosterone ain't gonna make you more masculine. Yes, sir, let me say that again for the people in the back. Listen up, my guy. Maxing out your testosterone ain't gonna make you more of a man, and it ain't gonna make you more masculine. You might be wondering, okay, man, what the fuck does that even mean, bro? I've been hearing from science. I've been hearing from self-improvement. I've been hearing this information from all different angles that maxing out my testosterone is gonna make me more manly. But you out here telling me that this is false, that this is a lie, that this is a facade. Well, make that make sense. Relax. Relax. Relax, my guy. I'm gonna need you to just take a deep breath. Come on, do it with me. Get yourself grounded, because it's time for your boy to break this bitch down real quick like a brick for y'all. So first things first, what you must come to understand along this journey that we call life is that you, yes you motherfucker, are more than just the material. Let that sink into your psyche. Let that marinate into your mind, my guy. You are more than just the material. You are more than just the blood and body. You see, in the modern world that we live in today, science, information, logic has confined our view of the world to only perceive it from that angle of the material, of the body. That's what science does. It tries to make sense of the world, but it only makes sense of it through the lens of the surface level, aka the physical, aka the material, aka the blood and body. But there is different aspects to your being, such as the spiritual. Because whether you want to admit it or not, my guy, I'm here to tell you that you are not just the brain and body. There is a deeper essence to your existence that we call the soul, that we call the spirit. Some people are connected to that plane of consciousness, while others are completely disconnected. Majority of people, majority of men are completely disconnected from that. So these men only view masculinity from the angle of the hormones, from the angle of biology, from the angle of the blood and body. They don't view what masculinity really means on a deeper, subconscious, spiritual level. Because what you are doing when you are trying to max out your testosterone is actually becoming more feminine within your consciousness, okay? Let me just say that, within your consciousness. Don't go up in the comments right now, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. He's saying testosterone is not a masculine hormone. It is a masculine hormone in the biological realms of reality. But testosterone in itself makes you more feminine within your consciousness. So what do I mean by that? In the yogic traditions, the feminine force called Shakti is associated with the nature of you going out into the world. It's all about differentiation, and it's all about action. It's all about activity. When you have higher testosterone, you become more active. What does that look like? You become more aggressive. You become more confident. You become more outward oriented towards all your activities. You want to do things. You want to conquer things. You become more enraged and embedded with Shakti, that feminine force, even though your testosterone is getting higher. Look at the people that take testosterone. Matter of fact, look at the people that inject testosterone, the bodybuilders, the fitness influencers. They are very, very feminine in that nature. They all want to go pursue things. They all want to get bigger. They all want to get stronger. They all want to get more aggressive. They all want to become more bold, vigorous. And there's nothing wrong with that. But that's not making your mind, that's not making your soul, that's not bringing your consciousness towards true masculinity. What most people are trying to pursue when they're trying to become more masculine is actually becoming more feminine. That's why I dropped a video on this channel not too long ago about how the modern day view of masculinity is a complete mirage. It's a mirage by the matrix. It's a mirage by the illusion. And it's a mirage by the material world that is upheld by all these dumbasses online, these influencers, the alpha pill guys, the red pill guys, the top G's, all these 1% male people that go out there and tell you that becoming a man is all about biceps, bitches, and Bugattis. That is a feminine drive to go out and get more, and there's nothing wrong with it. But if you want to become more masculine, what you're trying to do is bring your consciousness towards unification, not differentiation. Differentiation is all about getting things. It's all about activity. Masculinity, consciously speaking, is all about passivity. And this is why in that video, I brought up the example of, if you want to look at somebody who is purely masculine, go take a look at the monks. Go take a look at the sages. Go take a look at the mystics, the yogis, the sadhus, the men who have renounced activity. If you renounce activity and go straight towards contemplation, which is all about meditation, being disconnected or detached from reality, being disconnected and detached from the blood, from the body, that is the essence, the pure embodiment of masculinity. I'm not saying you have to all become monks, you have to all become sages, you have to all become mystics. You, me, and everybody that you see, doesn't matter if they're male or female, has a perfect balance of how much masculine energy that they have, Shiva, and how much feminine energy that they have, Shakti. And this is expressed through not only their body, but also their brain, also their consciousness, also their soul. It could be 70-30, it could be 50-50, it could be 40-60, it could be 20-80. Who knows the splits? I don't know your exact split. But what most men are trying to do is become more feminine with all these different testosterone maxing ideas. And I'm not saying for you not to max out your testosterone. I'm not saying for you to not eat healthy. I'm not saying for you to not get out there in the sun. I'm not saying for you to not pursue this idea of becoming more bold, more vigorous. But you have to realize that this is not masculinity. Masculinity is all about passivity. Femininity is all about activity. Feminine energy is chaotic. When you take testosterone, when you take too much testosterone, go look at these bodybuilders having roid rage. Does that look like a masculine man to you? What is your view of masculinity? Just some guy that's super macho, super big, aggressive, is an asshole? No, that is the feminine force. You know, guys that take testosterone are more like women on their periods, crashing out, crazy, chaotic. But a man who has undergone the spiritual path, like the monks and mystics, who has gone away from the feminine force, this is why we call the material world Maya. That's a feminine name. This is why we call it Mother Earth. When you remove your attachment to the earth, to the body, to the brain, and get closer to the spirit, closer to Shiva, closer to the masculine, that's when you actually become truly more masculine. So the masculine nature is not all about going out there and doing, going out there and conquering, going out and getting more money, more cars, clothes, hoes, and all that shit. If you see yourself being super oriented that way, you're actually more feminine, consciously speaking. You can have high levels of testosterone. You can have huge muscles. You can have all the masculine features. But your consciousness is more rooted in the feminine force. And that's what actually matters. If you want to feel masculine, forget about maxing out your testosterone. Again, there's nothing wrong with that. But if you actually want to feel more masculine, stop injecting shit. If you want to feel more masculine, stop over obsessing about this idea of biohacking. What you need is meditation. And some of you guys be like, oh, what the fuck is this guy talking about? How is meditation going to make me more masculine? Like we just said, man, if your biological system, your body and your brain is basically hijacked by this feminine force, and you're always chasing after survival, sex, status, biceps, bitches, Bugattis, you are not masculine. You're basically a slave to Shakti. You're a slave to the feminine force. The journey, the spiritual path of overcoming these compulsions is how you become more masculine. Truly, truly fucking masculine. Masculinity is not about, when I say passivity, I don't mean just sitting there doing nothing. I'm saying the ability to feel the urges, the temptations of whatever it is, whether it's lust, whether it's food, whether it's the greed, whatever it is. You're able to feel it and say no. You're able to look at it, say no. Not out of, oh man, I hate this, but just say no. No, I'm good. The more you're able to do that, that's how you become more masculine. So how does meditation allow you to do that? When you practice meditation, and when I say meditation, I don't mean just sitting down in a pose. That's a way you can meditate. You know, all these different practices and techniques that people call meditation is not meditation. Meditation is the state of consciousness that you achieve through these practices. You do meditative practices to enter the state of meditation. There is different layers and states and stages of meditation, but what you're trying to do inevitably with this whole process is not to have a clear mind, is not to become more productive. This is what self-improvement tells you. If you're on the spiritual path, what you're trying to do within your meditative practices is to access this state of meditation, which is all about removing your attachment, removing the energy that's being pulled outward, removing the awareness that's being pulled outwards into the physical world, into Shakti, and bring it back towards the self, bring it back towards the spirit. There's a great analogy in the Bhagavad Gita that talks about this. One of my favorite books of all time. If you guys have not read that yet, you're missing out, because that's a banger. That's a classic if you're somebody on the spiritual path. This analogy shows you what meditation is all about. Take a look at a turtle. Arms out of its shell, legs out of its shell, head out of its shell. That is you having your energy outside of yourself, having your attention being pulled out outside of yourself, having your focus being pulled outside of yourself. The limbs, the head, is basically your energy, your focus, your attention, your prana, your power that is being pulled outside of the self due to the feminine force. And the more testosterone that you max out without the ability to control it, the more that energy gets pulled outward. Because when you take testosterone, you become more active. Or when you max out your testosterone, not even inject it, you become more active. Again, nothing wrong with that. I don't want you to get it twisted. I don't want you to get it fucked up. I don't want you to get the wrong message from this video. But that energy that is being pulled out of you by the feminine force is not allowing you to bring your energy back inwards, back to the masculine, back to that state. So when you practice meditation, why you sit down, why you don't listen to stuff, why you even try breathing less, is so your energy, your attention, your focus can stop being siphoned and pulled outward into the material world, so you can inevitably redirect it back towards yourself, just like a turtle can pull its arm back into the shell, can bring its leg back into the shell, can bring its head back into the shell. But you don't got a shell, motherfucker. You have a self. The self is the shell. That is the core of your being. That is your essence beyond the brain and body. Testosterone brings you deeper into the brain and body. And the brain and body wants to go outwards. Always wants to go outwards. That's its nature. That's what it's meant to do. And your brain and body right now is a prison for your soul. That's why I've dropped a video on this channel that's literally titled, "Every man is born as a slave to himself." You are born as a slave to the brain and body. You are born as a slave to Shakti. You are overdosing on the feminine force. And you might be wondering why. Well, in the yogic traditions, there's something called Kali Yuga. Yugas are the different cycles of life. Life is not linear. Life goes in cycles. And the cycle that we're in right now is called Kali Yuga. Kali Yuga is where your consciousness, it spawns. It's naturally rooted in the lower planes. And if we look at the lower planes, these are the lower 3 chakras. The Muladhara chakra, the Svadhisthana, the Manipura, which is all about survival, sex, status. Take a good look at the motherfuckers around you, even yourself. What is everybody focused on in the modern day world today? Survival, sex, status. Where's their energy? Where's their attention? Where's their focus? Going outward, 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 outward. You are born in that state. You're not born in a state where people are teaching you about meditation. People are teaching you about the spiritual path. People are teaching you how to connect deeper with the self. You spawn in a state where you are put into a conveyor belt of life, of going out and acting, working, and everybody is trying to optimize that. Everybody's trying to become a better worker. Everybody's trying to become better at being active so that they can get more survival, sex, and status. And why is that the case? It's because everybody is born into this illusion by society, by their family, by their friends, by the world around them, telling them, selling them a lie that they're only the brain and body. That's all that they are, and that all life is about is simply just stimulating the senses. When I say stimulating the senses, I'm talking about survival, sex, and status. Of course, your parents don't tell you life is all about survival, sex, and status. Society doesn't tell you life is all about survival, sex, and status. They don't say that directly, but everything that you're doing is oriented to get that. School, job, work, kids, house, wife, retire, die, all that shit. The script of society is all about that. And let's say you don't want to follow that script. What is the main script that most men fall into after? It's the fucking Andrew Tate. It's the fucking self-improvement nonsense. That life is all about biceps, bitches, and Bugattis. Guess what that's all about? Survival, sex, and status as well. Am I wrong? Everybody is pursuing these things because everybody has been programmed from the start to do these things. And that's due to the fact that their consciousness is associated with that. Their consciousness doesn't realize, or it's blocked off from the higher planes. The lower 3 chakras, Muladhara, Svadhisthana, and the Manipura, aka the roots, the solar plexus, or the sacral chakra, and the solar plexus, that is the feminine world. That's the feminine realm. When your consciousness is rooted in that plane, which is not bad, you need it. You need all the chakras. No one chakra is better, but right now you're stuck in these 3 chakras, stuck in these 3 planes of consciousness. You're stuck in the feminine force. And getting more testosterone is gonna keep you there. It's not gonna make you more masculine, because the masculine is the higher 3 chakras. And right now, the lower 3 chakras that we're talking about, the feminine force, that is all associated and oriented towards your material nature, towards your blood, towards your body. It's the dense realms of reality where you can touch it, you can feel it, you can taste it. The 5 physical senses is basically your ability to interact with the feminine world. Your 5 physical senses. If you can do shit with that, that means that you are in the feminine world. That means you are operating within the feminine realm. The higher 3 planes of consciousness have nothing to do with the dense reality. This is the subtle planes. Like we said in the beginning of this video, you are more than just a material, and life is more than just a material. There's some shit that your 5 physical senses cannot detect, but it don't mean it's not there. Your higher faculties, which are awakened from your higher chakras or higher planes of consciousness, is what allows you to operate within those higher realms. If you've ever smoked weed, if you've ever taken a psychedelic, you know for a damn fact that you shoot up into a different dimension. That dimension is not in that plant, is not in that substance. It's always there. But those substances turn on your higher faculties. It turns on your masculine chakras, which is the Vishuddhi, the throat, the Ajna, the third eye, and the Sahasrara, the crown. That is all about contemplation. When you smoke a little weed, when you do some psychedelics, if you don't do it like a dumbass, what you do is you become more introspective. You start connecting the dots when it comes to this reality. You go and perceive beyond just the physical plane. That is you tapping into your masculine nature. Of course, I'm not telling you that you need to inject LSD like these people are injecting testosterone to become more masculine. That's not what I'm saying. Trust me, I've tried that shit. Not injecting it, but I've tried just taking more and more and more of that shit. That's not what it's all about. What happens when you take these substances? What happens when you access these higher planes of consciousness? It's basically your consciousness detaching from the chains of the material world that pull you down into that feminine force and that pull the power out of you and make you go outwards. Taking more testosterone or maxing out more of your testosterone is going to make you stay in that state if you are not able to control it. A majority of people cannot control this high feminine force, this high octave of Shakti. They must practice renunciation. They must practice practices to get into the state of meditation. When you do renunciation, what you are trying to activate is meditation. When you sit down and meditate, and I'm putting air quotes because again, meditation is not sitting down, this and that. You can chant mantras, you can look at a divine symbol, you can do pranayama, breath work. All these things are meditative practices once again to get into the meditative state, the masculine state, the contemplative state, and activate your higher chakras. What you are doing though on the base level of that, if we take all of it away, is renouncing your attention being pulled out into the external world. When you do those meditative practices, you are restraining, not in a bad way, not repressing, but restraining the senses. You're calming that feminine force that wants to go outwards. It's that chaotic energy, that testosterone energy. You're calming it down until it shuts the fuck up. Now, that silence that you hear, meditation, that's the masculine state. That's the contemplative state. Because the deeper you go into these meditative practices and the deeper you go into the stages and states of meditation, the more and more detached you become from this material body and this material world. And this material world is all about differentiation. What the fuck does differentiation mean? It means duality. Shakti, the feminine force, creates duality. You and I are different. Me and these plants right here are different. We view ourselves as different because we are operating within the physical world, that we look at this physical makeup of it and we view it in a way that this is different, I'm different. But on the deeper level, we're all just fucking atoms vibrating, but on different levels. We're all made up of the same things, but on a different vibration. And it sounds crazy, it sounds woo-woo, it sounds wah-wah, it sounds like some fried out, hippie shit. But I'm keeping it a buck with y'all. That plant, this iPhone, me as a human being, that fucking squirrel, that fucking telephone pole are made up of the same thing. Atoms, protons, electrons, all that shit that you learn in science. I'm not a science teacher, don't fucking quote me on that. But it's made up of the same essence. It's just manifested or expressed in different ways. That is the beauty of the feminine nature. That's why the feminine nature as well is associated with the yoni, aka the vagina. The vagina brings out these different aspects of reality. This baby, that baby, that baby, they're all made up of the same shit, but expressed in different ways. And there's beauty within that. But also, that brings duality into the world. And when we are stuck in duality, we're stuck in that feminine force. And we're always looking to go outwards because that dual nature makes us think that I need this to be complete. But when you get towards the journey of non-duality, or the state of non-duality, which is called Turaya in the yogic traditions, this is the fourth state of super consciousness. This is when you access the crown chakra, the Sahasrara, the peak of masculinity. All differences between you and the world, between you and other people, between you and everything dissolve. All becomes one, one becomes all. If you've ever had an ego death, whether it's through a near-death experience, whether it's through psychedelics, like I have, you know what the fuck I'm talking about. You hit or tasted Turaya. You tasted transcendence, where you broke free from the bondage of the brain and body. You broke free from the bondage of the feminine force because you're a slave to the feminine force. And the more that you are maxing out your testosterone without tapping into meditation to override that, the more that you're going to be in this dualistic nature where you're just chasing after shit outside of you, more and more and more and more and more. When you hit Toraya, when you hit the masculine state, you don't need shit. That's why I say the yogis, the sages, the sadhus, the mystics, the monks are the pure embodiments of masculinity. They don't need anything. These motherfuckers are naked, sitting up in caves all day long, but they're more blissed out. They're more unified with the cosmos than the billionaire Andrew Tate with all the cars, with all the clothes, with all the hoes, all the money, all the muscles, all the biceps, all the bitches, all the Bugattis, yet you view him as more masculine than that. Masculinity is when you find true bliss within yourself. Masculinity is when you can say no to everything, not because you hate it, but you say no to everything because you don't need it. These motherfuckers don't even need to breathe, the yogis and sadhus. If you know what I'm talking about, these motherfuckers barely breathe. They're so blissed out because they're operating from those higher faculties. I'm not saying you have to become a monk. I'm not saying you have to become a sage, but you have to follow the path that they laid out, which is all about renunciation, which is all about you disengaging your consciousness from this incessant need to go outside of itself to chase dopamine. The more testosterone that you have, the more dopamine that you want to chase. Let's keep it a buck. You're people who take testosterone not just for muscles, do it for their business, do it for, productivity and all that stuff, becoming superhuman, biohacking, all that shit are people that have not found bliss within themselves. They need to get more survival, need more sex, need more status because they're a slave to Shakti. They're a slave to the feminine force, and they've been fooled by society, fooled by science into believing that they are becoming more masculine by taking this. The warriors that you see, the MMA fighters that you see, yes, they're men, and biologically speaking, they have high testosterone, so they're more masculine in that sense, but consciously speaking, they're feminine as fuck, which is not a bad thing. Again, it's not a bad thing. I'm not saying these guys are pussies or anything like that. But when you do not have the counteracting force, if you don't got the yin to the motherfucking yang, that's when shit goes array, and that's why we're living in Kali Yuga. Everybody is focused on survival sex status, survival sex status, survival sex status. Everybody is on this hamster wheel of hedonism. Everybody is chasing dopamine like a motherfucking junkie because they have not had the ability to take that energy that's being pulled outwards back into the self. They're not taught this. Funny enough, people are taught that this is feminine, that this is gay, that this is that this is whatever. Oh man, these dudes are gay as fuck by meditating. Oh man, these guys are hippies, this and that. Those motherfuckers are masculine, real masculine. And again, the goal is not to be completely masculine, and the goal is not to be completely feminine. Right now, you're completely feminine. I am completely feminine if we don't do anything of proper work on the spiritual path. If we just max out on testosterone, if we just think that we're going to become more masculine by doing these different types of things that science will tell us that is becoming more masculine, we are 100% feminine, consciously speaking. You spawn as a woman, basically, when it comes to your consciousness. Everybody, woman or man, woman and man, you spawn as female within the feminine force. You are trapped within Shakti in today's day and age, in the present age, within this yuga, within this cycle. The other cycles is different, but we don't got to worry about that because that's fucking far down the line. These yugas, these cycles go down like 4 million, 4,000 years, all that shit. We don't got to worry about that. What you got to focus on right now is bringing back the balance, going from the feminine state of consciousness to the masculine. And the only way you're going to do that is not by maxing out your testosterone. If you still think that and you're watching this video, what the fuck is wrong with you? Did everything just go over your head? What the fuck just went in your brain? If you're still here, you're picking up what the fuck I'm putting down. I'm not talking about biology. I'm not talking about genetics. I'm not talking about the brain. I'm not talking about the body. I'm talking about consciousness. Maxing out your testosterone is not going to make you more masculine within your consciousness. You're stuck in the Shakti states and you're stuck in the feminine force. You're basically in a rip current. If you guys have ever gone to the ocean and know what I'm talking about, a rip current, it's when these two currents of the ocean start converging within each other, and there's like this little pocket of the ocean that no matter how hard you fucking swim, it's just pulling you deeper into its stream, and you get sucked out into the middle of the sea, basically. That's what's happening to your consciousness. You're trying to max out your testosterone, but naturally, the world that we're living in today is Kali Yuga, so you're already spawned as a female in the consciousness sense. The feminine force then comes together like that rip current and just pulling you deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper into slavery of Shakti. This is why most people are slave to their senses, because they believe that all they are is just the senses, just the brain, just the body, and that all they're right here to do is simply just to stimulate that sense. Instant gratification, survival sex status, that's becoming more masculine, that's becoming successful. That's what society tells you. But in order for you to become truly more masculine and break free from this incessant craving of the senses, you must walk the path of self-mastery. And when I say self-mastery, I mean self-mastery, not self-improvement. Self-improvement is all that bullshit that these people will tell you. The same old shit, survival sex status. Hey man, you need more biceps, you need more bitches, you need more Bugattis. That's making you more feminine. You must practice renunciation. You must walk the right-hand path and perform ascending yoga. This is what the yogis in the Tantra tradition called Dakshinachara. It is walking up the mountain of self-mastery. And when I say self-mastery, I'm talking about renouncing that attachment, renouncing that slavish tendency that you have to the feminine force. It is counteracting it. It's bringing the yin back to the yang. You dig what I'm saying, motherfucker? It's bringing the yin back to the yang. It's walking up the ladder of consciousness. You're stuck in the lower levels. When you practice renunciation, you open up the doors to climb up to the higher levels. Because your job, again, is not to become 100% masculine, 100% feminine. You have a dharmic, a natural balance of both. But right now, you've been overpowered by feminine force. And you have been fooled into believing that how you counteract that is by maxing out your testosterone. No, you need renunciation, bro. If you want to be a real masculine man, stop thinking that that means real masculinity. That macho shit ain't masculine. I'm not saying for you not to be, have a good connection to the feminine force. If you believe in your nature, that you want to get jacked, that you want to get rich, that you want to get this and that, beautiful. I'm all for it, man. I'm all for it. Get jacked, get rich, get this, get that. But if you are dependent on that being the pinnacle of your life, you're a fucking slave to the feminine force. You're a slave to Shakti. So in order for you to prevent that from happening, prevent yourself from being on this hamster wheel of hedonism where you want more cars, more clothes, more hoes, more muscles, more biceps, bitches, Bugattis. If you want to break free from that, you must disengage from the feminine force and re-engage with the masculine. You must do that through renunciation. And this is what we talk about over here on this channel. All the different practices, all the different disciplines, all the different information that we break down over here, from semen retention, celibacy, fasting, meditation, all that shit is renunciation. When you hear about the word renunciation, you probably think of some nun. You probably think of some saint. You probably think of somebody that hates their fucking life and basically is giving up on everything that's fun. That's not renunciation. Renunciation is you taking back the control. You bringing back that arm, that power, that energy of the turtle into the shell, into the self. Why are we trying to do that? Is so now that energy that we have been wasting, basically unconsciously, because let's just keep it a buck, You might say, hey man, I want more cars, more money, more clothes. You might not, bro. Most of your desires are not even yours. Most of your desires are not even yours. You've just been conditioned. You've just been programmed to think that this means success, that this is the pinnacle of life as a man. You don't even know what you want. You've been molded into a mere cog in the machine by everything around you to tell you this is what success looks like as a man. You might be somebody that wants to become a sage, wants to become a sadhu, wants to become a monk. Maybe that is your destiny. That is your dharma. That is your duty, but you don't know. So you are unconsciously chasing after things because you have unrefined Shakti. You have the feminine force taking over your nature. And this idea of testosterone maxing is just adding more fuel to the fire. Again, I'm not saying testosterone maxing is bad. Eat good food, go work out, get good sun, do all that shit. But you need to also practice renunciation if you truly want to bring the balance of the feminine and the masculine. That's where you bring true power to yourself. So when we are doing these practices of renunciation, like semen retention, celibacy, fasting, meditation, all this shit that we talk about here, we are trying to take back that power that's being unconsciously drained out of us from this feminine drive that is unrefined, and bring that energy back to the self, because once we have that energy, we have the potential to open up the higher planes of consciousness, aka your masculine states of consciousness, and you can remove your attachment from the material more and more and more and more. And as you do that, you become less dense and more subtle. You become less about the body and more about the spirit. The spirit is where you are completely disconnected, or you are completely unfazed by these impulses, by these urges. The reason why you want to get to that state is because right now, when you are a slave to Shakti, whenever you're horny, you got to go whack it. Whenever you're hungry, you got to go eat. Whenever you're greedy, you got to go find more money. Whenever you're envious, you feel this. You are basically walking around life chained up to your emotions. Emotions is that feminine force. And also the emotions is Shakti, is what gets more and more and more invigorated in your being when you testosterone max. You don't become more stoic when you take testosterone. You don't become more stoic when you max your testosterone. You become more chaotic, which is a good thing. You want the ability to do both. But when this energy of the feminine force is overpowered, it's not activity, it's not energy, it's not potential energy, it's pure chaos. Think about it like this. Another analogy from the Bhagavad Gita. You have a chariot. You've seen what a fucking chariot is. You know, you go to like an amusement park or some shit like that. There's people riding around with their horses. You know, they have that little carriage. You have a chariot too. I'm not saying in your garage. I'm not saying out in the front of your house. I'm not talking about a real chariot. I'm talking about your physical body is a chariot. Your physical body is a chariot. Your consciousness is the one driving the chariot. What's the reins connected to the horses? That's your mind, the reins. You know, you pull the reins, the horses stop, the fucking horses run. That's how you control the horses. What are the horses? That's the senses. If your senses are overpowered, if your senses are not tamed, if your senses are not controlled, that fucking carriage is gonna go all over the place. If the horses are horny and they see other fucking horses, they're running right to it. If the horses see food and they're hungry, they're running right towards it. And your conscience is basically a slave and confined to wherever the horses want to go. I always bring up this analogy too as well. I have multiple dogs, but there's one dog in specific, my first dog. You might have seen her in some of the videos that I have her with. She was crazy. Absolutely wild, pure chaotic. Again, feminine force right there. Every time I would want to walk this dog in this specific area, or anytime I wanted to walk at all, I would have a little like route planned out. By 2 minutes into the walk, we're on the opposite side of town, because this dog was just pulling me like fucking crazy. It was not tamed. It was not controlled. So me, I wasn't walking the dog, basically. The dog was walking me. You're not living life. Life is living you. Your senses are in control. What you try to do through renunciation to get back to the masculine state is to disconnect and disengage your attachment to the senses so you can tame it. When you're too attached to the senses, that's when the senses overtake you. When you are able to disengage from it through renunciation, that's when you take control. That's when you take the power, and you, in that chariot, can finally operate and navigate it to the way that your consciousness wants to go. The way that your spirit is guiding you, because within the Bhagavad Gita, that whole analogy of the chariot is all about, again, your consciousness is the one driving, the mind is the reins, the senses are the horses, the body is the chariot. But what's next to you, or what's next to Arjuna within that whole story of the Bhagavad Gita? It is a figure named Krishna. This is a deity in the Hindu tradition, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. What is he supposed to represent? He is the guide of Arjuna. He's the guide of the guy driving the chariot. That is the spirit. That is the soul. That is the Atman. That is your spiritual nature that is guiding your consciousness in a way where it can control the mind, and the mind can control the senses, and the senses can control the body. When your spirit is there, you are using the brain and body, and now it's no longer using you. It's not abusing you. You see what I'm saying? Right now, you're a slave and you're a prisoner to your brain and body. Your soul is a prisoner to your brain and body, and your consciousness is caged. In order for you to actually utilize the brain and body for what it's meant to do, it's supposed to be acting as tools to help your consciousness, pursue the journey of the soul, pursue what's called your dharma, your destiny, your duty. You don't know what your dharma is. You don't know what your duty is. You don't know what your destiny is. What you must do to find that is walk the journey up the mountain of self-mastery, which requires renunciation. And that is you activating those masculine states, those higher chakras, those higher planes. Testosterone maxing ain't gonna get you towards your dharma, because guess what? You've been programmed to believe that your destiny, that your whole purpose of life is survival, sex, and status. If that was the case, if that's what all you're brought here to do, and testosterone maxing is all you need, then you would have came here as an animal, bro. If all you were brought here to do is survive, have sex, and achieve status, I promise you, you would have not incarnated here on the human realm. You would have incarnated on the animal realm, because the universe is way fucking smarter than you and way fucking smarter than me. It knows what your dharma is. You don't know what your dharma is because your consciousness is rooted in the lower planes, and the world that we live in right now is keeping you stuck there. And it's making men believe that masculinity means more and more testosterone, more energy, which is going to lead to just more and more of you descending, your consciousness descending into the dark abyss of the mother, of the feminine force. In order for you to truly access your dharma, you need to come back to the Father. You need to come back to your masculine nature. When I say the Father, I'm not talking about God the Father, no Christian shit, none of that. No, I'm talking about the essence of you that is beyond the brain and body, the subtle nature, accessing Taraya, accessing the plane and the state beyond desires. Because the brain and body desire. Testosterone just makes your desires more enraged, more inflamed. It just increases your desires. But the soul, the spirit, the Atman, only has Dharma. Your true nature does not care about how much survival, sex, and status that you have. They're a part of life and there's nothing bad about it. But if you just view this as the pinnacle of life, guess what? You're going to be stuck on this hamster wheel forever. Go look at the super testosterone maxed out guys. The people that inject it. The people that are the alpha males. All this shit that they say. Top G's. They got the money. They got the cars. They got the clothes. They got the host. They got the biceps, the bitches, the Bugattis. They got all that bullshit. Guess what? They still need more though. Because this is a bottomless pit. They're a slave to it. You dig what I'm saying? You picking up what the fuck I'm putting down? They're not truly fulfilled, because what's going to bring you fulfillment is only your dharma. The only way that you will be fulfilled is by fulfilling the nature and the journey and the destiny and the duty of the soul. Your soul does not derive its diet from desires and dopamine. It is not derive its diet off that. It can't live off of that. The only thing that your soul can be nourished with is divine nectar. And divine nectar is a metaphorical state of consciousness, spiritual ecstasy if you want to call it, that is accessed when you live in alignment to your dharma, to your destiny. However, like we just said, you don't know your dharma, you don't know your destiny, you're just stuck chasing desires for your entire life. You must have your consciousness disengage from those desires. Not add on more fuel to the fire by testosterone maxing. You need to counterbalance this by getting back to the real masculine states, the real masculine nature, the higher planes of consciousness, the higher chakras, which are all activated and engaged through renunciation. You must stop being so consumed by these compulsions, consciously speaking. You must be able to say, hey man, I'm horny, it's okay. No, you, not even that. You say the body is horny, I'm not. The body and brain are my tools. When you look at that chariot analogy, do you view the guy, the consciousness, as the chariot? No, he's sitting in the chariot. Do you view him as the horses? No, he's using the horses. Do you view him as the reins? No, he's using the reins. What he truly is consciousness. That's your true nature. So every time you are practicing these things, of these austerities of renunciation, you gain more and more power over your true nature. You get more connected to it, and that allows you to control the brain and the body. This is what renunciation is all about, and this is what we talk about over here, man, about self-mastery. Over here on the second channel, aka the Philosopher Files, right here in the field, in the flesh, dropping out that game so you guys can make these games. You dig what the fuck I'm saying? This is what we talk about all on the main channel as well. Matter of fact, if you don't know about the main channel yet, man, like I just said, this is my second channel. Some of y'all don't even know that. The Philosopher Files is my second channel. This is what we do all of our content in this format. Long format. Yaps out in the field. Yaps out in nature. We're basically structuring it like a podcast. Structuring it like a FaceTime call. Like I'm talking to you, mano y mano. So if you enjoy this type of content, man, that's what we're cooking up over here on this channel. But if you want to see another side of the coin, well, we are still talking about these same different types of concepts, same different types of topics, but from a whole different angle. That's what the main channel is all about, the philosopher. Because basically, every time that you tap into a main channel video, you better be ready for a cinematic experience. Every time you watch one of those videos, basically, you watching a goddamn movie, my boy. Because we got all of our nice, clean-cut edits, scripted content. It's basically a documentary style, how we doing it over there, man. So if you have not tapped into the main channel yet, man, you are missing out. Check out the link posted in the description box down below. Click that link. Find the main channel, The Philosopher, subscribe, and get up on some motherfucking game so you ain't out here looking like a lame, you dig what I'm saying? Because look, you might enjoy the main channel more than this channel. You might enjoy this channel more than the main channel, but you don't even know which one you like, because maybe also you want to get the best of both worlds. But at the end of the day, what we are doing over there and over here is uncovering this esoteric science of self-mastery. So again, run it up, description box down below, and underneath the link to the main channel that you'll find in the description box is a link to my Instagram. Because look, man, if you ever want to talk about these different topics, chop it up about these different types of concepts, my DMs are always open, man. Shoot your boy a message, slide in the DM, not in that way. I do not roll like that. Pause. But shoot your boy a shot. My DMs are always open. You dig what I'm saying? Let's talk about these different concepts and topics and all that good stuff. Make sure you follow me over there. Keep connected and stay up to date with all the other types of content that we're posting over on that platform as well. But like I was saying, all the stuff that we talk about over here on this channel, The second channel, The Philosopher Files. Over on the main channel, The Philosopher. Again, description box down below. All the stuff that we talk about over on the private Patreon community. Matter of fact, we got to take a quick pause right here and right now, because I got to give a shout out to the fucking private Patreon community. Look, man, most people have already clicked off this video. We are basically an hour in. Most people have already clicked off this video, but you still here. Why is that the case? Why is that the case? I have an idea. And this is something I like to term as the fact that you, yes, you motherfucker, that's still here, you a spiritual savage. Yes, you heard me right. You a spiritual savage. You about this life. You are interested, or you are already walking this path of self-mastery. Because look, ain't nobody gonna listen to me yap for that long if you don't resonate with the message. You a true spiritual aspirant. You're not stuck in this self-improvement shit, and you are starting to understand what I'm saying. You're starting to understand that if I want to truly become masculine, if I want to truly have my balanced nature, if I truly want to access my dharma, I got to walk this spiritual path. I got to renounce. I got to walk the right-hand path. I got to perform ascending yoga, because you're a real devotee. You about this life. You are not settling for just being a slave to Shakti, being a slave to the feminine force. You want to see what true masculinity, consciously speaking, feels like. Am I right or am I wrong? Well, if you are one of those motherfuckers, you are a spiritual savage, I'm going to need you to do me a quick favor right now. Find the closest mirror to you. I don't care if it's in your bathroom. I don't care if it's in the car window of somebody else's car. Stare into that car window. Look at them. Make them uncomfortable. I don't care if it's in the selfie camera of your motherfucking phone. Take a good, hard look in that mirror for me, my boy. Come on now, man. I'll wait. I can wait all day. A good, hard look in that mirror. Really analyze a man that's staring right into your eyes, that's staring right into your soul when you look into that mirror. Get a nice click-clack Kodak moment. Analyze that. Get a good mental picture. Really let it sink into your psyche and marinate into your motherfucking mind, my boy. Because I need you, yes, you, to realize that you're doing that man, not me. The man that's staring right into your eyes, staring right into your soul when you look into that mirror, a huge disfavor by not joining up into this private Patreon community yet. If you are somebody who's truly serious about this path of self-mastery, if you're truly a spiritual savage. Because look, man, if you enjoy what we are talking about over here on this channel, what we're talking about over on the main channel, I'm telling you, your mind is going to be blown into bits with the in-depth knowledge and information that we're cooking up over with the content dropped on the private Patreon community. I'm talking about exclusive videos that you ain't gonna find on this channel, you ain't gonna find on the main channel. Matter of fact, you ain't gonna find it anywhere else on the internet, because this is some real deal game, real deal sauce for your motherfucking brain to help you elevate on every single plane. You dig what I'm saying? Come on now, bro. Uncovering this esoteric science of self-mastery to a level that you've never seen, my boy. And not only do you get access to all these treasure troves of exclusive videos by becoming a member of the private Patreon community, but also you'll get access to all of our full guides, our in-depth occult lectures, our digital libraries, and most importantly, an invitation to the Philosopher Circle. Yes, sir, you heard me right. The philosophers, not the philosopher. I'm talking about the Philosopher Circle, aka our private inner circle community, where you'll be surrounded by other men who are walking up this mountain of self-mastery side by side with you. We're going to hold you accountable. We want to see you elevate, and inevitably want to see you liberate. We're not just focused on testosterone maxing to become more masculine, but actually walking the right hand and taking back all that power, reclaiming back their prana, reclaiming back their power to inevitably realize their potential, aka re-access their dharma. That is what awaits you at the top of this mountain, at the peak of masculinity. Realizing that you are beyond desires, realizing your true nature past just chasing dopamine, and most importantly, rediscovering what you've been brought here to do. That's what awaits you at the top of this mountain. So not only do you get surrounded within this group chat but all these different men from all different parts of the world that are walking up the same mountain with you. But also, this is where we host our bi-weekly mastermind live calls. Yes, sir, you heard me right. Bi-weekly mastermind live calls where you hop in a live call with me as well as a community of like-minded men who are walking up this mountain side by side with you. So we can talk about these concepts and topics way more in depth and way more in detail. And we can also make sure that you are getting the right guidance to walk up the path that's meant for you. Because we all in this community are walking up the mountain of self-mastery, but you might start here, I might start there, I might take this turn, you might take that turn. At the end of the day, we're walking up the same mountain, we're trying to get to the same pinnacle, which is not money, cars, bicep bitches, and Bugattis. We're trying to tap into true masculinity, which means re-accessing and remembering what our dharma truly is, what our destiny truly is, because that is only found when you are disengaged from this incessant noise of survival sex status. You must shut off all the noise of the external world. You must shut off all the noise of the feminine force and re-access the silent wisdom of the masculine nature, the masculine drive. That gives you the knowledge, or what I like to call the gnosis, of what's going to bring you into unification with your true nature. What's going to bring you into yoga. Yoga means unification with your true nature. That's the knowledge. So once you got the knowledge of your dharma, you must have the energy to bring it back. What is that energy? It's all about activity. It's the feminine force. Now you're using the feminine force, Shakti, and merging it with Shiva. That's yoga. That's when you tap into the superhuman potential, where you live in alignment to your dharma and you experience spiritual ecstasy. This is what this community is all about. This is what we're focused on. This is what we're doing all these practices for. Not how many days you're on semen retention, how many days you can fast, is to inevitably get rid of all those karmic compulsions, to inevitably, and most importantly, tap back into your dharma. So if you're somebody who's truly serious about this path, I'm telling you, man, the Philosopher's Circle is the place for you, my guy. I can assure you that. I can assure you that. This is the community to be around. Because look, let's keep it a buck here, man. You've all heard the saying that you're the sum of the 5 people that you hang around most with. That's 100% fact. No cap in that rap, my boy. No cap in that rap. So if you're hanging around with 6 or 5 people that are all focused on testosterone maxing, becoming more masculine, and they're falling away from what true masculinity means, you're going to be the 6th motherfucker that is sold and told this lie and living in this delusional aspect of reality where you are simply just chained up to the material. If you're ready to break free from that, if you're ready to stop being a slave to Shakti, to re-engage back with Shiva, re-engage back with the masculine, to bring back this connection, I'm telling you, man, I just told you, this is the community to be around. The Philosopher's Circle is 100% the place to be for you. But if you need any more information about the Philosopher's Circle and the private Patreon community as a whole, check out the link posted in the pinned comment of this video, not the description box. Again, that's where you'll find a link to my Instagram as well as the main channel. But check out the comment section down below. You'll see it's the first comment pinned up by me. Click that link, you'll be forwarded to our page, and from there you can join up as a member of the private Patreon community and the Philosopher's Circle, but also check out the other services I provide, such as application forms for my personalized coaching program. Look, man, if you're someone who's truly serious about this path and looking to work with me directly, one-on-one, mano-y-mano, to help guide you up this mountain of self-mastery, of course, through learning how to renounce the right way, take back your power, reclaim back your prana, to realize your true nature. This is what this coaching program is all about, my boy. Creating and curating a systemized, personalized approach for you specifically to dissolve your karmas, dissolve those chains that is making you a slave to the feminine force, to inevitably take back that energy, dissolve those karmas, use that energy, use that prana that has been being pulled outwards to inevitably propel your consciousness upwards. Dissolve your karmas, discover your dharma. Discover your divine duty. Discover your divine potential. Nothing else is going to satisfy you in your life but that. You can have all the cars, clothes, money, and hoes, but if you don't have the counterbalance of the masculine nature, you're going to be living life misaligned to your true nature, to your true essence. So if you're somebody who's really ready to take your life to the next level and see how you can actually master the self using this esoteric science, shoot your boy an application and we'll see if your entry meets the qualifications and criteria of the coaching program. But if you just want to book a one-time call with your boy, discuss anything that you're dealing with to help you get back on the right track, that's what we got our consultation calls to as well. You have the booking link for you right there. We can chop it up about anything that you're dealing with to help you get back on the right track as well. Again, all that good stuff posted in the pinned comment of this video. Click that link, you'll be forwarded to our page, and from there you can pick and choose whether it's joining the Philosopher's Circle, whether it's applying to the coaching program, whether it's booking a consultation call, whatever it is, you can pick and choose which one of these services best suits you. But like I was saying, all the stuff that we talk about over here on this channel, all the stuff that we talk about over on the main channel, all the stuff that we talk about, especially on the private Patreon community and my personalized coaching program, is geared and oriented for you as a man to become truly more masculine. Yes, it's important to have your body vigorous, courageous, viril. It's important to embrace Shakti, but right now, most people stay stuck there forever. You must learn how to break free out of the grips, out of the chains, out of the karmic bonds of Shakti. And when I talk about karmic bonds, I'm not talking about you do good things will happen to you, bad things will happen to you. That's not the karma I'm talking about. Karma are those attachments that's making your consciousness stuck, rooted into chasing things that will only stimulate these lower planes of consciousness. Those karmas are formed when you keep trying to testosterone max. Because when you testosterone max, what are we doing if you are unconscious about all these things? You're just going to get more desires. You're going to want to chase more dopamine. And the more that you do that, the more unfulfilled that you are because you're not living in alignment to your dharma, the deeper that these attachments become. The deeper that you're descending into the dark mother. You see, Shakti, the feminine force, is supposed to be beautiful. It's supposed to help you. But when it's overpowered, that's when it goes against your nature. That's why I'm saying your body has become a prison for your soul. Your brain has become a prison for your spirit. And there's a great quote from Osho that I always bring up. He says, the mind can either be a beautiful servant or a horrible master. I like to take it and expand it. The body and brain can either be a beautiful servant that helps uplift the duty, the dharma of the soul, or it can become horrible masters that suffocates your spirit. Right now, in today's day and age, it's suffocating your spirit. And testosterone maxing it even more without this knowledge is just going to make you, basically, your brain and body completely tap out and choke your spirit to the point it's unconscious. To your consciousness is in a coma, or what I like to call spiritual amnesia, where you're completely disconnected from this idea of your dharma, and you're just stuck in this cycle, this hamster wheel of hedonism, chasing survival, sex, and status nonstop. You must get off that hamster wheel. The way you do it is not by doing more things. It's not by activity. It's by passivity. It's by saying no. It's by renunciation. It's through walking the right-hand path. That's how you'll get to your masculine nature. This is the whole process of dissolving your karmas to discover your dharma, because your dharma is like the sun. Your dharma is always there. Your true purpose is always there. But the days that the sun is covered up by clouds, the day the sun's covered up by snow, by rain, you can't see it. But do you go outside on the cloudy day and be like, we lost the sun, where is the sun? No, it's still there. It's just covered up by clouds, covered up by rain, covered up by snow, whatever the fuck it is. That is your dharma, that is your true nature, that is your true duty. That is up in the higher masculine states of consciousness, but you can't see it, you can't connect it, you can't realize it, because there's a bunch of clouds, there's a bunch of karma in between your consciousness and the dharma. The journey of self-mastery is to remove those karmas so you can discover that dharma. Discover what's going to bring your soul satisfaction, rather than living a life that simply is just about stimulating the senses, because your senses are a bottomless pit. It's going to want more, it's going to want more, it's going to want more. Shakti, when you are a slave to it, basically will never be satisfied. your feminine nature, your feminine states of consciousness, survival, sex, and status that is ruling your life is never going to stop. The only way that you stop it is by living in alignment to your dharma, living in alignment to your destiny. Your dharma is what you've been designed by the motherfucking divine to do. This knowledge is only accessed from within, though. I don't know your dharma, your dad doesn't know your dharma, your mom doesn't know your dharma, nobody knows your dharma but you. You can't find this knowledge in a podcast. You can't find this knowledge in a book. You must go within. You must go within and access your masculine contemplative states. The way you do that is by disengaging with the dense world. The more subtle you become, the closer you get to the spirit, the closer you get to the soul, the closer you get to the source, the closer you access gnosis, divine knowledge that can only be accessed from within. Because you go beyond desires. When you are beyond desires, you're no longer thinking about survival, sex, and status. So what is it that's there? What is the only thing that remains? Your dharma. You remove all the clouds in the sky. What's still there? The motherfucking sun. As you go up this mountain of self-mastery by dissolving those karmas through practicing renunciation, through these austerities that we talked about again, like semen retention, celibacy, fasting, all the stuff again that we talk about here, main channel, the private Patreon community, my coaching program. It's like you slowly but surely dissolving those clouds so you can see the sun more and more and more and more and more. When you get deeper and deeper into your meditative practices, you'll know what I'm saying. You start to detach from the body, detach from the blood, detach from the brain, and get fully absorbed back into the spirit. When you access that, you're beyond desires. So what remains? For some people, like the yogis, the monks, the mystics, nothing remains. That is their dharma, to remain there. For you, something might still be there, which is your dharma, which is your duty, which is the thing that's going to bring you the most fulfillment in life. Now, since you have the knowledge of it, you're no longer pursuing these things of survival, sex, and status as the pinnacle of life. Now your life revolves around your dharma. Like the sun, the planets revolve around the sun. You see what I'm saying? You picking up what I'm putting down? Now you're using the feminine force to achieve your dharma. Now you have Krishna sitting next to you in your chariot, guiding you towards the place that you need to go. You're not letting the horses dictate your life. You're letting your dharma dictate your decisions. That's when you have merged masculine and feminine. That's when you become a god. Come on now, man. But right now, you are overpowered with the feminine. We don't need more feminine. We don't need testosterone max. Again, I'm not saying don't do it, but don't make it your only goal in life, and don't be fooled into believing that that's going to get you masculine. You need real masculinity right now. And that's done not through activity, it's done through passivity. It's not through going out and putting out more energy into the world. It's by taking back the energy. Renunciation, the right-hand path of self-mastery. This is ascending yoga, this is Dakshinachara, and this is what this whole path that we talk about over here on this channel is about, motherfucker. To get back to your masculine states, true divine masculinity, through mastering yourself, mastering your nature, and mastering the senses. When the senses are driven by the feminine force, that's when you have no control. You need to take back the control. You need to take back your true nature. And once you've done that, now you can re-engage back with the feminine force, but from an angle of using it as a tool rather than it abusing you like a motherfucking fool. God damn, that's a bar. Write it down. I gotta end it off right there. I have to end it off right there. That was too good. It's been your boy out here in the field, in the flesh, dropping out that game so you guys can make these gains. And I'm out here. Peace.